Before I explain about Ibrahim alayhi salam and how great he was, I want to people to understand something properly. This Ibrahim alayhi salam was able to free himself from everything that can influence his pure reasoning. In this world, everybody said I think, everybody said I understand, everybody said that I use my mind, I use my reasoning. But people don't realize that whenever you say I think, your thinking is influenced by so many things. Not everybody is able to free their thinking, their mind, and their reasoning from those things which can corrupt your reasoning. Not everybody is able. Ibrahim somehow was amazingly able to free his mind, thinking from anything that can corrupt reasoning. I have given actually a few examples that you can see that how the reasoning of the people are influenced. And when we see the life of Ibrahim, you can see how strongly he was able to make his reasoning very, very pure. That was actually among all the messengers and the prophet, Ibrahim is the best thinker. Okay, he's thinking properly. In Europe, you have got so many thinkers, so many scientists and philosophers, and also in Muslim land, you can see Ibn Sina and Farabi, and before them, Greek philosophers like, Aristotle and people before him and people after him, great mind. But none of these people ever have been able to free their reasoning and their mind from all those things which can distract you. One of the things that can affect people's mind and reasoning is the desire. That very, very clearly, and everybody can see really, very often when we think and we make a decision, our decision is not based on pure thinking. It is based on the desire. You come to a place and there are so many food there. The way basically should be, you should think really that I need food. For what purpose? To keep myself healthy and to get energy. Then what the best way should be? Best way should be look in all the menu and choose that food which can help you in keeping you healthy and get energy. And then eat either much that amount which can help you. But what actually happens? When you come to a place like that, what you choose? Biryani, kebab, samosa. Do you really use your mind? Think really, do you use your mind? No, you are using your desire. You are not using your mind. Your mind says that biryani, kebab and kofta, they are going to harm you. You know this thing. But still your mind is influenced by what? By the desire. Then how much to eat? If ask your mind will say eat that much which can give you energy and enough to survive and proper health. Because as Sheikh Sadi Rahimahullah says, the food is made to carry you. You are not made to carry the food. But what we do? At the end of the dinner, we become carrier of the food. We carry the food. So our mind has been influenced by what? By desire. When young people, they fall in the love, men and women, and they want to marry someone, ask all of them, why do you want to marry this person? Ask them. They will tell you basically somehow this person's face or beauty or appearance or some character, something, they influence, and then they fall in love and they want to marry. Is it the right way? It is desire. The right way is basically, I am going to marry someone. Why? Marriage is for a purpose. Marriage is to make a family. Basically, you have to find someone who can be a good person for the family. You have to find someone who can be good father and good mother for your children. You have to think for the future. Because your enjoyment, they are temporary. And one day will come, your enjoyment will finish. What actually is more lasting is that somebody who can be good for your family, good for your children, good for everybody else, good for your piety, who can help you, who can be a good companion. Do we think like that? We don't think about the companionship. People need a companion. People need actually father and mother for their children. People need somebody who can accompany them all their life. You don't need somebody who's a pretty face only, because that face will go. And also when somebody leaves you without any of those character, you don't look at the face. You become tired of the face, even if it's very, very attractive. You can see what actually is influencing you? The desire. The desire influences people in eating, in drinking, and finding the companion for their life, in marriage. All the time it will happen. Same thing in tradition. Very often people do things not because that is the best thing. It is because it is coming from the tradition where they live. We are from South Asia. I'm putting on this cloth. Do you think really I use my mind that I studied all the cloth dressing of the people and I found this is the best one? No, actually in this country this is not the best one. Okay, in this country, it is cold country. Here we need that cloth which can make me warmer. This is made actually for India, where weather is very hot. So, this can work there, but not in this country. The reason I'm doing this is because I'm following my tradition. It is not that I'm using my mind. You can see that similarly, when British English people, they went to rule India. India was a hard country, but still you can see in India, they were in their coat and trousers and the tie and they're sweating, but still they don't want to leave their tradition because that's how people love. So very often your traditions, they influence you. You are born in a family where everybody doctor. Now you want to study, what you will do? You follow the tradition. That you don't think really that in this country what is the best needed and what is best, which actually in a discipline is best suiting me, how I can serve my community and myself in a better way. No, you follow tradition in the family. That makes easier. Very often people's mind is influenced by the tradition. That's how the reasoning. People say we have pure reasoning, but this actually what happens. People's culture, where are they born, where they're learning all those things. Ignorance. Sometimes you don't know, something, and your decision is made only on something that you know. For example, for any decision to make, you have to know all the aspects properly, and then make a decision and make something in full balance. For example, we people know this world, but really we don't know the life after death. So whenever we make any decision, it is based on our knowledge of this world, but with ignorance of the next world. We don't know that world. Our reasoning, our thinking, everything is influenced by this ignorance. We don't know. If you don't know, that will happen. You keep going in the wrong direction. For example, I'm coming to your city, Cardiff, and it took me, for example, 20 minutes longer. And you ask me why, I tell you, okay, I follow this route. You said, no, there was another route which was easier. It could be quicker. Why I did not follow that one? Because I did not know that. So when I made my mind, I decided something, I used my reasoning, it was based on the partial knowledge, not the full knowledge. Very, very often when the people say, I think, I understand properly, I use my reasoning, they cannot understand properly because they don't have the full information. They don't have the full knowledge. The reasoning is based on the ignorance. That's what makes a big problem for the people. Unless people get rid of, of ignorance, they never can make right decision. So one of the things which influence the reasoning of the people, their mind, is the ignorance. People don't know. Many people don't know. Like there's this story in India that somebody was standing next to the Parliament House in Delhi, and his face was in the opposite direction. Back was, in direction of the Parliament House, and the face was opposite direction. He does not know the Parliament House is behind him. He asked someone, how long will it take me to reach to the Parliament House? The person said to him that if you keep walking as you are, it will take you, it actually 25,000 miles. How much? 25,000 miles. He said, are you joking? I'm in Delhi, 25,000 miles. He said, yeah, the way you are going in that direction, it will take you 25,000 miles. Because your head actually faces somewhere else. It's behind you. If you don't know things, you will miss it. And you keep going, you never can get it. Ignorance very often really, people have mind, people think really, people have reasoning, but ignorance influences them. Sciences. Very often you know things that also affects influence. Why? Because what you know, it actually makes you to think you know everything anyway, and you want to base your thinking on that knowledge. Every question that comes from your mind is based on what you know really. You don't know, there are many things which can influence your thinking if you know them properly. You never think about that. Simple thing is, in a Newton, in this country, in Cambridge, an apple falls down, and he discovers what? The law of gravity. That is, there is gravity in the earth. He finds that it was big actually finding in the field of science. But that was based on a science. Because the only question comes to his mind disagree. When apple falls from the tree, it has many questions. Not only one question about how to find the gravity. There are many questions. Who made apple? Why he made apple? And why he cares for us? There are so many questions. But none of the questions came to the mind of Newton. Why? Because a scientist is thinking from the mind of a scientist. These knowledge of sciences, they also influence your mind. So when you think, you use your thinking very narrowly. You just want to know the answer of a very simple question. Like people say, somebody who was hungry, asked him, what is 2 plus 2? To what he said, 4 birds. because the only thing he can think really is the bread, the four breads. To a scientist, Newton only can have this question. And actually in modern time, actually the problem actually in Western civilization has happened not because people were not thinkers. People are thinkers who only can think partially. And if people who are interested, they know really in modern times there are four people, there are four pillars of actually Western civilization, because they got actually certain questions only and they got the answer, they changed the history. They never made effort to make the list of the questions wider. They only have very limited question.